I'm Holly Schindler, author of A Blue So Dark and Playing Hurt, coming to you from the midst of my current work in progress. You know, one of the reasons I love to check in on my fellow authors' blogs is that the photos they post give me a glimpse into what their world looks like. And that's why I chose to film this interview from my current workstation, which happens to be the middle of my kitchen table. I wanted to give you a glimpse into what my world looks like. I'm also going to be sprinkling some still photos throughout this interview to give you some sense of what the world looks like beyond my back door. I have to admit, I've never had a summer love affair myself, not like Chelsea and Clint. In fact, all of my characters are completely fictitious. They're never based on anyone I meet in real life. And the scenarios I write about are completely fictitious as well. I never write about something that has personally happened to me. But that's one of the joys of writing for me. I get a chance to be transported by my novels every bit as much as my readers do. I drafted Playing Hurt several years ago, in about 2004-2005. And that initial draft did not feature Clint's point of view at all. The entirety of the book was told from Chelsea's point of view or her eyes. That original version of the book featured Chelsea with a boyfriend at home in Missouri, and she went for a family vacation in Minnesota. And during that family vacation, she wound up falling head over heels for one of the guides at the resort in a way she had never fallen for her boyfriend who was waiting for her back home in Missouri. So the entirety of that book initially was about learning the difference between loving someone and being really passionately head over heels in love with someone. Now, after I sold A Blue So Dark to Flux in 2009, I went back and reread Playing Hurt because I knew something was missing. I just wasn't sure what. And as I reread the manuscript, I began to believe that what was missing was some backstory for Chelsea. I was also struck as I reread that manuscript by how athletic Chelsea seemed. All of those outdoor adventures, the hiking, fishing, all of that existed in the first manuscript. So I began to rewrite that manuscript, giving Chelsea an athletic past. But I got about a quarter of the way through the book and I realized I needed to do the same thing for Clint. And that's when I began to craft chapters written from Clint's point of view. It was not until the last time I rewrote Playing Hurt. But now I really just cannot imagine Playing Hurt without Clint's voice. A Blue So Dark wrote very quickly. I drafted, edited, and began to submit that book in just about 2 months' time. Playing Hurt took much longer to write, and Playing Hurt changed the most from first draft to final published version. I loved the way that A Blue So Dark just poured out of me. But I also really enjoyed the slower writing process for Playing Hurt. I enjoyed getting to know my characters piece by piece, getting to understand them better with each successive rewrite. You know, it's not the characters that I really get attached to. It's the writing process itself. I really think that in a lot of respects, writing a novel is an extended performance. Just like with a performance, when you begin a new novel, there's all sorts of nervous energy. There are butterflies in the stomach. You begin to wonder, how am I going to pull this off? How am I going to juggle all of these pieces, these subplots, and not drop anything along the way? How am I going to tie all of these threads together at the end of this book? And there's an enormous sense of relief when you get through, knowing you did pull it off. So that's what I love. I love the writing process more than I love individual characters. I'd like to thank the Story Siren for having me over today. And I want to encourage the rest of you to check out my two young adult novels, A Blue So Dark and Playing Hurt. And be sure to keep an eye out for my debut middle grade novel, which is due out from Dial in 2012. In the meantime, I'm going to get back to work. Thanks.